Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather next week to 10 days. In today's video, it's going to take us through the first week of December. And I think it's going to be pretty cold for the first week of December. Not going to be Arctic, Siberian cold, not going to be very snowy, but it's going to be anti-cyclonic. There's going to be a lot of frost coming up through the first week or so of December. So that's going to have quite a big knock-on effect to overall temperatures. I think is going to be a cold start to December, and also a cold start to the winter as well, of course. I'll get on with the video in a moment. Before I get on with that, just say about the ads. Just link to articles on the page. Just have a browse widgets and click through the links. If there's any articles that you're interested in, you're going to be helping us to pay for the website. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads. Most pages say, oh, no, content you watch, close, click up again. Just have to pay for this. And the Christmas shop is open. So if you've got any Christmas shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click the green button that says Christmas shop. Takes you to our Christmas shop page, then from there, click through the Amazon banners. Do your Christmas shopping at Amazon as normal. Because you've gone from Gazways to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you're purchasing, and thanks very much for doing that. So, just quickly start off with Central England temperature for November, nearly at the end of the month now, of course, and provisionally we still stand at 6.3, an anomaly of around 0.3 degrees below average. That's provisional to yesterday, 27th of November. So it looks like it's going to be colder than average month. We're going to have night frost coming up through the Central England region through the next few nights. So this will drop down further, probably finish up under 6 degrees, I would have thought, when we get to the end of the month. So a colder than average November, as predicted, of course. So these are 500 mil height anomaly flowcharts. We've got the ECWF here on the top, and the GFS, I'll have a look at that in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet, is an area in the atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure, being moved around by a jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, red to high pressure. And you can see what's going on here over the next week to 10 days. We've got this big ridge here on the eastern US, sitting right over top of the country. A lot of cold air coming down to the eastern part of Europe, and some of that will be pulled west by this high pressure as well. But the main thing is that it's very anti-cyclonic, so a lot of dry weather coming up over the next week to 10 days, but it will be cold, and there'll be significant overnight frost as well. The GFS is very similar. The high pressure perhaps a little bit more centred towards the northeast, which allows maybe slightly colder air to come in from the east. Excuse me, but the real cold air is over into eastern and southeastern parts of Europe with this trough here. That's where there'll be a lot of snow, probably through Scandinavia as well. For us, it just looks mostly dry, but cold with some significant overnight frost. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. So red line here is the 30-year temperature average. We can say that these aren't as important under high pressure as you might think. So, for example, this area looks quite warm, this part of the chart. And also just here, it looks a bit above average in terms of the upper air temperature. Indeed, it is a bit above average in terms of the upper air temperatures. But down on the surface, because we're in winter now, the heat just radiates out in space very quickly. So unless you've got a veil of cloud to keep the heat trapped at the surface, the heat is just going to go, particularly at night. So it looks as though generally it's a little bit above average through the first week of December. Dates on the bottom of the chart. Of course, it looks so overall, except this colder drop just here for a few days at the end of the week into weekend. It looks like it's basically a little bit warmer than average. Won't be that warm on the surface, so there'll be a lot of night frost, which will impact the temperatures during the day as well. The precipitation part of the chart shows loads and loads of dry weather from now through start of December. Then the spikes do come back a little bit, the precipitation spikes, but not with conviction. And overall, that looks a pretty dry ensemble, really going into the second week of December, which is this part just here. Certainly no sign of an especially wet spell coming up. So these are the temperature anomalies for next week. It looks significantly cold and average, doesn't it, across most parts of Europe from the 28th of November through the 6th of December. Those temperature anomalies are coming out cold and average, both for the UK, excuse me, again, and for many central and western parts of Europe. Big contrast to what we had this time last year when it was exceptionally mild, wet and Atlantic driven. The precipitation anomaly looks like this, significantly drier than average across the west of Europe, more precipitation in the east and northeast of Europe, and that's mainly going to be falling as snow. So lots of snow to come from the east of Europe. For the west of Europe, just looks cold and dry. Here's the GFS for Friday then, Friday 2nd of December, and the high pressure is through the country. Look at this big northerly plunge going down through Scandinavia into many eastern and northeast parts of Europe. Very cold, snowy there. We're under the ridge, so it will be cold and frosty, but not much in the way of precipitation. That takes us into Saturday as well, with high pressure over country. It's still there as we go through into Sunday. Start of next week, no change. High pressure is firmly locked in over us. Looks like it's trying to get up towards Scandinavia a little bit as well. So we're trying to, at least attempting to bring the winds in to the east. As we go through next week, with the upper air temperatures for Monday, first of all, it does look cold, particularly over on the eastern side of Europe. Through next week, that high pressure continues to sit around the country and many western parts of Europe as well. Upper air temperatures still looking cold on the eastern side of Europe particularly. And no real change into the middle part of next week. This is Wednesday 7th, through into Thursday the 8th. The high pressure remains well and truly in control. And beyond that, it continues up to Friday the 9th of December. No change, high pressure is still there, bringing dry but very cold, frosty weather, particularly at night. Temperatures by night are looking like this. So this is 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday. A little bit of frost in the south, otherwise not too much frost. But after that, it does turn much more frostier again. So Saturday morning, for example, starts with a widespread frost across the country. Sunday morning starts a widespread frost across the country. Monday morning, a week's time, looks very frosty in many places. And so on we go through Tuesday into Wednesday morning next week. Very frosty conditions persisting. And still lots of frost up to Thursday the 8th of December, which is day 10. Of course, we start off with another widespread frost. So it really does look very cold in terms of frost through the first week of December. Won't be much in the way of the white stuff. And then we have a look at the ECMWF finally. So we've got those cold northerly winds coming through Scandinavia into eastern central parts of Europe, bringing snow. Again, we're under the ridge, so it's mostly dry and cold and frosty. It's Saturday and Sunday, no change. That high pressure is firmly locked in over the UK, giving us loads of frost. The snowy conditions are going to be on the eastern side of this ridge, which is for eastern and northeastern parts of Europe. And then that just continues into next week. This is Monday, a week away. This is Tuesday next week. Still the high pressure firmly there, bringing lots of frosty weather. Mostly dry as well. And into the middle part of next week, no change. Look at that, the high pressure fest just goes on with high pressure dominated. If this was summer, it would be a very prolonged hot spell that we was looking at here. It's winter, so we're looking at a very prolonged cold and dry spell of weather with a lot of night frost. And also, we haven't really spoken about this yet, but also the risk of freezing fog, I would have thought, which could get increasingly widespread and problematical through this first week of December. You never quite know with fog in the UK now. We don't get as much of it as we used to years ago. I'm not sure quite why that is. Certainly the air is a lot cleaner compared to how it used to be years ago. But even compared to, say, 10 or 15 years ago, we don't get as much fog as we used to. But nevertheless, I think there will be quite a lot of freezing fog developing with this high pressure that's going on through the first week of December, and that could be disruptive, of course, for some places, so it'll be one to keep an eye on. So the first week of December looking cold. We're going to be off to a cold start to winter, in complete contrast, very warm start to winter that we had last year. Going to be cold, not going to be really any Arctic type conditions, no snow, nothing like that, but just dry, cold, very frosty, and probably with freezing fog, bit of an issue as well. The snow is going to be in the northeast and the east of Europe. Right, that's all now. Later on today, we're going to be doing the 13th Christmas update. That'll be on the Christmas updates page around 7 o'clock this evening. We'll see what the latest is for Christmas. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.